Ladies and gentlemen, we will call the meeting to order and have a roll call. This is the Agriculture Committee, by the way. If you
Alan,
don't eat, you don't survive.
Juby,
here.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Sanchez,
Sanchez present.
Williams,
Williams here.
Roth, Kenyon.
Yes, here.
You have a quorum in the room and Roth is present.
Do we have a motion for unanimous consent? for
So
approved
moved
Minutes?
by Leonard.
Any objection? Seeing none? Well, Mr. Roth, we will count you present now. Is there public comment? No.
Speaker.
Mr.
Yes,
Speaker?
we do. Michelle Langworthy is in the audience. She'd like to address the committee.
Fine.
And I get 3 minutes.
Sure.
Right.
Pick whatever you want.
Okay, because I'm a touch over. I've timed it.
Today's young. Go.
Well, I'm here to propose zoning restrictions based on lot size for suburban homeowners be eliminated. As evident with Chicago's backyard chicken keepers, chickens do not require acreage to be well kept. In 2021, 11% of King County's children experience food insecurity. Raising healthy, sustainable eggs empowers the community and prevents hardships like what my family has endured since the pandemic due to our dietary restrictions, supply chain issues, shortages, and ever increasing inflation. We live in unstable times, and waiting for the next affliction before proactively empowering families is irresponsible. Raising chickens used to be the norm in our country. A 1918 poster, USDA poster declared, "Uncle Sam expects you to raise chickens," addressing personal food security, childhood responsibility, and patriotic duty, all with a simple appeal for backyard chickens. The environmental benefits of backyard chickens are inexhaustible. King County allows for families to have 3 dogs per household. The EPA puts dog waste in the same category as toxic chemicals from pesticides and motor vehicles. 1 gram of dog waste contains 23 million toxic bacteria. 20 to 30% of the bacteria in our water traces back to dog waste. Chicken waste, on the other hand, is a gold mine in the fertilizer department. 5 hens produce 5 ounces of valuable garden fertilizer daily, compared to a single dog, which generates 12 ounces of pathogenic feces a day. In 2021, America had to import $1 billion worth of fertilizer components from Russia alone. Backyard chickens cut down on that foreign reliance. Just like dogs, chickens are beloved pets and therapy animals. We don't micromanage who can have dogs based on lot size. Why isn't the same freedom granted for chickens, especially considering all their benefits? 35.2 million tons of food scraps are thrown away each year, and a single hen can biorecycle more than 2 pounds of table waste a month, adding up to a massive reduction of methane gas in our landfills. Chickens eat weeds and keep a garden pest-free, which cut down on toxic glyphosate sprays that blanket our neighborhoods with cancer-causing particles all summer. The average egg travels 317 miles before it makes its way to our plates, including the manufacturing, transportation, and disposal of styrofoam and cardboard containers, with the average person eating 263 eggs a year. Empowering families to raise chickens brings that carbon footprint down to 0. And finally, chicken myths have all been dispelled. Hens are extremely clean when properly managed, and no odors emanate from a chicken backyard with proper chicken husbandry. Chickens don't hurt property value. A Forbes list of the top 10 US housing markets appreciating in value show that all 10 permit chicken keeping. DuPage County confirmed that there have been no complaints against their backyard chickens since updating the ordinance in 2020. At the end of the day, more people should be raising chickens, not less. So I'm asking King County to join the ever-growing number of municipalities and do away with restrictive zoning and allow all homeowners to keep backyard chickens. It's proactive, humane, and environmentally sound. Thank you for your time. And if this gets added to the board, to the agenda, then I can elaborate on what proper chicken keeping would entail. We can also add the point that you guys were all talking about how to get more money onto the budget. You can charge like a regular fee for the permit for backyard chicken keeping. So that's another avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I did notice yesterday when I was at Butera, eggs were 99 cents a dozen. So we're going the right direction. And my son and daughter-in-law want to have chickens, but they only want 6, and that's not enough for them and me. So I think they should triple their flock.
Maybe we should get a service chicken in here.
Yeah. Mr. Arnold?
Thank you, Mr. Kenyon. I will be brief, given the hour. I do have a notice this morning from U.S. Department of Agriculture that they are seeking members for a federal advisory committee on urban agriculture and innovative production, and I will share that with the county staff. I'm sure that Matt has probably seen the same notice from the Department of Ag. An update on
All right.
planting progress from the National Ag Statistics Service. On Monday, they showed corn 84% planted in the state of Illinois and soybeans 77. I would say that King County may be at or just a little bit below those levels, particularly on soybeans and also on soil moisture. The climate maps show that King County, northeastern Illinois, and much of the state of Illinois is about 30 to 40% deficient on soil moisture right now. So it seems to us like it rains and rains and rains, especially to the farmers. But when you get down to the subsoil, there's a deficiency. I want to report that we had a successful Touch a Tractor event, which is our annual Farm City Open House in April. We had really good weather, and we found that really good weather actually decreases our crowds because they're in your forest preserves and they're at the zoo and they're at Home Depot and the gardening center. So we had a couple of 80-degree days, best weather we've ever had. So our numbers were down a little bit. I want to thank the members of the Ag Committee and the County Board, and particularly the County Board Chair, who attended our April 15th meet and greet. And we presented a plaque in recognition of the county's passage of the agriculture resolution. It is officially called an Allies in Agriculture plaque. So I want to thank the County Board Chair for being present for that activity. Also, a couple of updates. The Illinois Farm Bureau does a regular podcast, what they call a partners podcast. They did a podcast on Monday on our Illinois Prairie Pollinator Rain Garden. We will share that through a Facebook post today, actually. And we are planning some infill activities. And again, we'll notify members and volunteers through a Facebook post when they are welcome to come out and help us plant some infill plants in the pollinator garden. In terms of just a quick update in terms of state and federal issues, the General Assembly is scheduled for adjournment tomorrow. The last that we heard, revenues through the income tax are down about $1.7 billion from last year. Of course, before the General Assembly adjourns, they have to pass a budget. And there are many of our priority issues that are unresolved right now. The major things that we are working on is CO2 capture and storage, pipelines, and getting carbon dioxide stored underground, and trying to get agreement of all parties, not only on that issue, but also on amendments to wind and solar siting ordinances that were passed by the General Assembly during the lame duck session, and trying to resolve particularly drainage issues as relates to that wind and solar siting on farms, and making sure that the counties and drainage districts and property owners have avenues to address the changes in drainage that are caused by those renewable energy improvements. On the federal level, most of our concern right now is that with the reauthorization of the Farm Bill that will come later in 2023, and particularly in the commodity, nutrition, and conservation titles in the Farm Bill. And with that, unless anybody has any questions, I'll conclude my report.
Mrs. Allen?
Good morning. I was under the impression that because our staff.
That a little closer to the mic.
Okay, there we go. Is that better?
Yes.
I was under the impression that because we are just so lucky to have experienced, thoughtful, enlightened staff, that we had some provisions already in place having to do with protecting drainage. So that at least in Kane County, when solar and wind farms come in and do their underground boring, that they will have to abide by our stormwater policies already, and that we would lose some of our ability on siting to have setbacks, but that our underground stuff would be pretty protected. Do you feel that's being compromised?
I defer to Jody Wolnick.
Very good.
I knew that was coming. Yes, I think we're in a definitely better position than counties that don't have adopted a countywide stormwater ordinance. We do still have concerns with our drainage districts because they have facilities that we have no authority over, and those are specifically excluded, as well as the length of time that they would be allowed to disrupt that drainage. And so I think on the ground, the trailer bill that was introduced by the Illinois Farm Bureau really tightens up those sections. And so there isn't any confusion. So I think we probably cover it 90%, but there's probably 10% that we're still concerned with. So I think that additional language will help clarify for everyone.
Thanks.
And I'd like to introduce somebody, Michelle Blackburn. She's stand up so they can see you. She's with the Forest Reserve and she will manage the Forest Reserve's farmland. So we stole her from another county.
No. That's still appropriated.
Yeah. She's experienced for dealing with farmers. We're a special group, you know.
You are.
Very
Yeah.
special.
Okay, let's move Soil and Water Conservation District. We have a new person.
You have a new person. So my name is Kat Gertz. I just joined a month ago. I joined the Kane DuPage.
Need to
Soil and
move
Water
closer to your
Conser- Perhaps if we do this, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, all right. This is unexpected. I wasn't expecting to speak. So I am really I'm grateful to be here. I have joined a team that was in unfortunate circumstances. I'm sure you're all aware. And I'm taken aback with how the team has really stepped up and taken control in the absence of Elizabeth and has moved forward. And they've welcomed me, which has been very exciting. I do not come from a soil and water background. I come from Barrington Area Conservation Trust, which is a land trust. So I am used to dealing with the green things that are growing using the soil and the water. So this is new for me. I'm on a learning curve right now. I'm excited. I want to make connections with everyone. Steve and I have met already. Matt and I were out with Janice yesterday. We're working on some exciting stuff that Michelle was also involved with for August. So moving forward, I'm trying to get my feet on the ground, and I would be excited to talk with any one of you at any point in time.
Any questions or?
No.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Presentations growing for Kane, Matt Hensley.
Yes, good morning. I wanted to give an update on our livestock market assessment. So we did have a kickoff meeting with our consultant team this Tuesday. So I wanted to kind of recap what we went over with them and just kind of outline some of the phases of this project work going forward. So this is just a list of the project team. So we met with Kathy, Andrea, and Carolyn. So Andrea Carbine is going to be the project manager for this. She has a pretty extensive background in the culinary sector. She's worked in that field for about 20 years and then has transitioned into, business analysis and doing, business studies, this type of work with new venture advisors. And she was actually nominated for 2 James Beard Awards. So she's pretty good at what she does, and certainly in the culinary sector. Carolyn Mirren is going to be leading a lot of the research work related to this program. And she does have a background in agriculture. She has worked on farms in Montana and in New England. So she brings some hands-on experience to this work and is really going to be helpful and good at interacting with farmers and folks that work in the agriculture sector. So we're looking forward to working with them. So during the meeting, we did review the project scope. I have gone over this a little bit previously. So during the meeting, we just kind of went over some of the early activities that we're going to focus on. So that's going to include some preliminary interviews. So, we're going to try to engage some livestock farmers just to kind of set the stage for this work. We're going to be doing a lot of ongoing stakeholder work throughout the project and then culminating with an in-person stakeholder meeting toward the end of this. But just to kind of get some early feedback and orientation, we're going to have some early stakeholder interviews. And we did discuss the core elements of the market assessment. So those are those 4 bullet points under the middle column. We mainly focused on the demand analysis. So there's a slide on the next page. I'll go over that a little bit more. And so, so I'll move on to that. And so the demand analysis, so this is really one of the core elements of this project and really trying to identify where the market opportunities exist for livestock products that might not be widely recognized. So we kind of scoped this in terms of, a set of buyer categories that include restaurants, retail, wholesale, institutional, direct to consumer. And then, as we kind of go through the research phases, we'll begin to kind of focus on, what types of products specifically, what types of value added should be included. But we did make a point of requesting that dairy products be included among the product set. I know there was interest in that, so we made a point of making sure that that's going to be addressed. Yes, question.
Roth here, I had a question. Are we addressing in the buying category, food banks?
That is certainly, that would fall under the institutional buying category. So
Okay.
that would be covered by that.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
So, yep. And then, and then certainly the, buyers will be an important segment of the stakeholder information gathering process. We'll have a survey that's specific to buyers. And so they'll be kind of, we'll be gathering information from them in tandem with producers throughout the study. So this is the project timeline. I did want to call attention to the in-person stakeholder meeting toward the end of the project period. So once we have a date for that, we're going to, get the word out on that pretty early so that folks can put it on their calendar. Obviously, we're trying to work around the growing season, so it's tentatively scheduled for either December or January. And this is going to be an opportunity to share the findings that have been gathered to date, and then to get direct feedback from farmers and other stakeholders, just to make sure that those findings reflect their experiences and their understanding of the livestock landscape and market. But again, we're going to be, we're going to be conducting surveys and interviews throughout this process. So that's going to track through the different phases that precede the stakeholder meeting. And then just in terms of the immediate next steps, so NVA, the consulting team did put together a work plan. So we're currently reviewing that. It basically outlines all of the major project activities and assigns a schedule for those. So we're just making sure that those are appropriate for the objectives that we've set forth. And next week we will have a research meeting. So that's going to focus on figuring out what types of data we want to gather. We're currently in the process of sharing a lot of data that we've already collected, kind of leading up to the work with this consultant. So we're giving them, previous surveys that we've done, previous reports. So they have a pretty good baseline of understanding of where we're at. And but I want to emphasize too that we're going to be, we're going to continue to give updates to the Agriculture Committee on an ongoing basis. And, we certainly welcome any, if you have recommended farmers, stakeholders, individuals that, that we should be hearing from and should be contributing input to this study, please let us know so we can include them. That is all I have for the livestock update.
This is National Beef Month. So
Good timing.
You can, this is grilling out for Memorial Day. That's the big deal.
So you're having a
And
grilling
burgers.
party at your house next week?
Yeah, there will be. There's always a minor charge.
Okay.
There any more questions of Matt,
Just a comment, if I may.
Madam Chairman?
Thank you. I had the opportunity to go over the applicants of the team who's going to be doing this and reading their bios. They're extraordinary. What an extraordinary group of people who have been collected. So you're to be commended for choosing such an excellent group to do this research. I was thrilled that I would be happy to work with any of them, and having all of them together as a collective is an amazing resource for us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Are you done, Matt?
I'm done.
So we can
Yes.
hear from Jody Walnut,
Thank you.
Director of Water.
I have a quick update on our drainage districts today. We were able to engage 3 of our drainage districts in an IDOT meeting regarding the expansion of Route 30 from Route 47 to Doberman Road. This project potentially impacts Big Rock Drainage District 1, Big Rock Drainage District 2, and the Sugar Grove Drainage District. So there were representatives from all of those drainage districts that were able to get on the call with IDOT and review the plans. After we had that meeting, we worked with each individual drainage district and determined really that the biggest impact was to Sugar Grove Drainage District. And working together, we drafted a letter to IDOT with the requirements for that drainage district to ensure not only that their infrastructure is protected and upgraded as part of the program, but also that they don't have any future issues, being that there is a large detention facility proposed over their main line, to ensure that they don't have to go through very stringent IDOT procedures to do any work on their facilities in the future. So it was a very successful coordination effort between the county, the villages out there, and the drainage districts. We're also working with Virgil 3 on a new crossing on their line and coordinating closely, and they have permit authority over any new crossings that are across their drainage channel. And we have also permitting authority as the stormwater ordinance. And working together, we're making sure that whatever is proposed to us is acceptable to the drainage district. So working collaboratively with that as well. The last item of note is that we worked with the Kane County Bar Association. They were greatly appreciative of our outreach to them and included an article in the April Kane County Bar Brief magazine for the drainage districts as regard to real estate. There's a lot of confusion out there from attorneys that are looking to close on a property and the property comes up that is listed within a drainage district and they call us for a letter to close out the drainage district. So we have to go through the full explanation of what a drainage district is, that it's a separate taxing district, and the history of drainage districts and how there's not a payoff letter like you'd have for an SSA. And so the magazine article includes a lot of great references to the state statute on drainage districts and gives all the history as well as who to contact and where to look for additional information on a drainage district. So we was really appreciative of the partnership with the Bar Association to get that article out. And it's a great resource for us as well. When we do have questions come into our office, we're able to provide them with that article now. So that's my report. Thank you.
Are there any questions, Jody? How many districts, drainage districts we have in the county?
I don't know off the top of my head, but there, if you're ever looking, if a property is in a drainage district, we have a great PDF website or a PDF map on our website now. So you can look for your property and you can also see if it falls in a drainage district and which drainage district that is.
Are there any questions of Jody? Do we have any new business?
Mr. Chair, I would like to address something.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'd like to follow up on what Ms. Langworthy mentioned about chickens. I've spoken to her several times. She has a child or children with soy allergies. So one of the reasons this is a passionate issue for her is because store-bought eggs don't jive with her child's allergy because a lot of chickens eat soy. So this is an issue that's near and dear to her heart. And looking at this further, DuPage County has an ordinance that allows for the keeping of backyard chickens. The city of Batavia has had an ordinance since 2011. I cannot find any instance where it's been a problem. Our zoning district regulations prohibit the keeping of chickens on a residential structure of less than 1 acre. I think if we could follow the Batavia or DuPage County ordinance, it would be something that I think would be beneficial to our residents. I explained to Ms. Langworthy that she has an additional challenge in that the covenants in Mill Creek prohibit the keeping of backyard fowl, but she's willing to work through that issue separately. I would like to see this committee either, I'm not quite sure of the process, either refer it to the development committee for examining our zoning ordinance and maybe possibly passing an ordinance similar to what DuPage County or the city of Batavia has. I spoke to Mr. Sanchez, he's in favor of that. I'd like to see if there's support by this body.
An answer coming.
Yeah, the Mark Van Kickoff. I've been aware of the issue also. The other restriction that we currently have in our zoning ordinance, besides the 1 acre minimum for our typical residential districts, is that sometime in the 90s, the county board amended the zoning ordinance as it pertains to plan unit developments or PUD, such as Mill Creek, such as the neighborhood I live in. That says that agriculture uses are prohibited unless explicitly part of the PUD, like an equestrian PUD or something. So that would be another area that we'd have to look at, maybe language that's similar to some of our other zoning districts that does allow rabbits, poultry, those types of uses. So that's something that if you'd like staff to take a look at, we could look at DuPage's ordinance, Batavia's ordinance, and then see how adjustments to the county zoning regulations might make that more possible for residents.
You can put this in with the noise ordinance and the.
Why do
think we wanna
chickens
allow
make a lot of
roosters.
noise?
They don't make much noise.
Yeah.
But thanks for bringing the idea forward. So I'm sure you'll work on it, won't you? Is there any other questions? Is there anything else to come before this committee? Oh, boy. We want to put the reports on file, Mr. Leonard?
Alan moves.
Ask for unanimous consent on that.
Ellen and Leonard, put them on file. Any objections? There's no need for executive session,
Yeah.
right?
And
Motion.
Roth will make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Roth moves. Is there a second? Mr. Leonard seconds? All in favor, say